Hey everyone, Tony Winston here of Jazz Piano College. I thought, I'd go into the Jamie Aebersold book here and take a look at the scale syllabus. Now, I recently did this big video about chords out of the real book and went through that, got a lot of views, so I thought I'd go over this. And there's quite a lot of scales here, and I think maybe I'll just run down the list real quickly and try to show you some examples of how to use them. And hope I don't get them wrong because I haven't really studied this. And of course, these will all be in the key of C here. So the first chord just says C, so that's got to be a C major. Use the major scale. C seventh. You just got to make that one alteration, which is flat the seven. Call that the Lydian mode because, what scale has one flat? F. And if you build it off the fifth degree of the scale, that's Lydian. So if you're improvising, you start on any note you want to. All right, C dash, that means minor, most common choice. The Dorian mode, because it's B flat major scale. See, B flat major, you build it off the second. Use the two flats. And, in C, you just think flat the third, flat the seventh. All right, C half-diminished, that's that little circle with the line through it. What do they got here? Locrian. So this is one of the modes I actually think about when I'm playing. Because it's easy to find, you want C Locrian, just go a half step and then do that major scale, D flat major. I'm sure we'll get to it, but the other one is put the regular 9 in there because the regular 9 is a more common extension of that chord than the flat 9. So, all right, and then the diminished, of course, you're going to use the diminished scale. And there's always confusion about, do I start with a whole step or a half step? Okay, remember, in a diminished chord, a whole step extension is possible from any note. So let me just take it up here. See, I can add that note to the chord or just move that note up. I could add a D to the chord because it's a whole step above C. So pick any note, start with a whole step. And that's your diminished scale. Okay? Whole, half, whole, half. Now look, if it's B seventh and you have the flat 9 in, of course it could be up there too, it's the same diminished scale, but if you're thinking in terms of B, you start with a half step. So you get to the diminished chord part of it and then go with a whole step. So on a B dominant seventh, especially if it has a flat 9, because look, there's the diminished chord. All right. Let me move on. Major scale choices, okay? C triangle means the major, and says you can use, I think that's the same as before, major pentatonic. All right, C triangle plus 4. Okay, now, because it's hard to write, I don't know why they don't just put like sharp 11 or something like that, or sharp 4. Maybe their typewriter didn't have that little key on it or something, but they put plus 4, and that usually means a raised 4, so like that. And that's the Lydian scale, right? Because it's built off of what? You're doing G major scale, and you're starting with the 4th degree. But it's, I never think about the G major scale when I'm thinking Lydian. It's too far away from C. It makes me confused. So you just think about sharping the 4. Or, in this case, plus 4. Okay, another one, C triangle with the bebop scale. All right, you're just adding a passing tone there. All right. C major with a flat 6th. I don't know this one. Let me see. Wait a minute. All right, that's a pretty useless scale there. When you get to these exotic kind of scales, you just kind of find stuff that sounds good by ear. You don't really think about it that much. C major, plus 5 and plus 4. What the hell is this one? Lydian augmented. Wait a minute. right, that comes from, that's like an A minor melodic ascending. All right, this is an important scale because lots of modes of this scale are usable too. I've never thought about this one in my life, and I don't ever plan to. Scratch that one off the list. I don't think it's all that useful. One, you never see that chord, and so why do you need the scale? Augmented chord. Let's see. What do they say? Oh yeah, I've heard about this one. It's like where you approaching each note of the augmented chord with a half step. So I think there's another name for this one, and I'll research it and put it in the video there. C, sixth mode of the harmonic scale. All right, see? Useless. You can find ways to use this. Rick Beato could find a way to use that one. I can't. I don't want to. Diminished, beginning with a half step on a major chord. Why would you do that? I mean, you can find melodies that might use those notes. You know, it's like little passing tones or something. I don't think I would ever think that way. Blues scale. All right, no, they're just talking about a C chord, so yeah, I mean, usually it's going to be like a dominant chord or a minor chord, minor seventh or dominant seventh. But I suppose if you just have C, you can use the blues scale if it's a song that sounds like the blues scale would fit in, not all the time. You know, it's not going to work every place. All right, dominance. All right, it's going to be the most possibilities here because there's just so many. And it says scale name dominant seventh. Well, that's not the dominant. That's the scale name is Lydian. I think. Well, they called it that before. Let's just call it Lydian. All it means is flat the seventh, major pentatonic. Yes, that's nice. The bebop. Yeah, the thing about these bebop scales is really. You could put the passing tone in just about anywhere. Take the Lydian scale, you know, add a passing tone here, or add it here, or someplace else. I don't know about that one, but yeah, it works in a lot of different places. So, you know, I just don't think I would practice those scales. I would just practice sticking in passing tones in different places and see how it works out. Spanish or Jewish scale, okay. All right, now see what this is actually. It's a minor scale. It's like F minor, harmonic minor, F harmonic minor scale, and we're just starting on C, but using the same notes. See, there was that part there. So, and where is this C7 chord likely to go? To F minor. So, you know, you could just be thinking in F minor and go like that, you know, and you've got using the same scale there for both chords, or, you know, you could use a different scale when you get to F if you want to. All right, I think that was pretty useful, but I don't know if I'd call it a Jewish scale. Maybe. All right, C7 with they call it the +4, but you know, we really think of this nowadays as a sharp 11, or in the old days, it was just, you know, the dominant chord with a flat 5, C7 flat 5, okay? So the whole tone works, but I'm not sure what they're asking for here. Lydian dominant. Okay, this is a great scale. And this is one of the modes of a minor melodic ascending. See, G minor, Minor melodic ascending. This is a scale you should learn. Minor melodic ascending. Here it is in C. All right. Now, in classical, you do it different coming back down, but for our purposes, we do it same way, right? Because there's lots of modes of the scale, and in this case, we're using like that, and we're on a G or C with a flat 5. Yeah, or it would work on C if you have a C7 with a sharp 11. That's a good scale to use also. Or anytime you have like a C with like just a 9 or a 13, not flat 9, not flat 13, but those two unaltered intervals. So a C9 chord, right, or C13 chord. That's a great scale. Let's put a circle around that one because we need to know that one. C7 with a flat 6. All right, nowadays we call that a flat 13. Now I've got a flat 9 in, so I don't know if the Hindu scale is going to work. Let's see. No, it won't work there. All right, that is F minor melodic ascending. But I've never seen it as a C7th. But once again, where is C7th going? It's going to F minor. So yeah, you could use it just thinking in F. 2, 5, 1. Okay, never really thought of it that way before. Probably will never think of it that way again. But I think that's pretty valid. But they've got it with this chord. Like it. Let's see, that's just an augmented chord. And that an augmented chord is like an altered chord, really. So it's going to F minor more than likely. So it makes sense, I guess. All right, spent enough time on that one. Whole tone scale. Yeah, anytime you have like those notes in there. C7 flat 5. Right. And they call it like augmented, but flat 5 would work just as well too. And C7 with a flat 9. Yeah, the diminished starting with a half step, because your diminished chord is here. The C is there. That's the flat 9 right there. Yes, you can have a flat 9 right next to the root. And use the diminished scale. That makes sense. With the sharp 9, both notes are in the same scale, so again, diminished. But, you could, a more common choice is the altered scale. And I wonder if we're going to get to that scale. It's got to be in here someplace. Yeah, the very next one. C7 with either a sharp 9. Why they call it plus 9, I don't know. Plus 9 usually means like to add a 9, but they mean sharp 9. Flat 9. Sharp 11, which they call a plus 4, and flat 13, which they call a plus 5. Those are all the altered tensions from a C chord. Flat 9, sharp 11, flat 13, and the altered scale. Right? Which is D flat minor melodic ascending. And what do they call it? They call it the diminished whole tone scale, because it starts with the diminished thing, right? Half, whole, half, and then goes whole steps the whole way up here. Right? Nowadays, we call that more often the altered scale, but it's the same thing. Diminished whole tone, altered scale, same thing. Blues scale, got it. All right, if we have a suspension, and it says may be written G minor over C. Yeah, or G minor 7th over C, or B flat over C, or B flat major 7th over C. I mean, there's just so many ways to write it. And my favorite is C11. I just, it's a short little symbol and easy to figure out, but I'm in the minority there. Okay, and what do we got? Yeah, Lydian again works great. What do we got here? Oh, like the B flat pentatonic. Yeah, that's good. The Bebop scale. Is that right? Oh, no, they've got it that way. That's the bebop, bebop scale. Okay, minor scale choices. C a dash or C dash 7. A dash means minor. So minor chord or minor seventh. Most common, flat the 3 and flat the 7. From the major scale. Flat the 3, flat the 7, do the same in the scale. See how easy jazz is? Anybody can do it. They call this a minor pentatonic. But if you know that, like, this is actually, E flat major 6th, that's the relative major. Both key signatures would have 3 flats in them, E flat major or C minor. So E flat major pentatonic, or they can call it C minor pentatonic. It's the same thing. Okay? And look at this one. If you put this note right in the middle, that's the blues scale, so very close to the blues scale. I'm surprised somebody hasn't called this the minor pentatonic bebop scale, because you add that one passing note. Let's just call it the minor pentatonic. I think that's a good idea. C minor 7th, bebop minor. What's that? Oh. Never heard of that one. Don't like it. It's just another passing tone. Let's scratch that one off the list. All right, here we go. Minor melodic ascending. C minor, a C dash triangle. All right, so minor is the dash and triangle is the major. So it's called a minor major 7th chord. And minor to begin with, and then major for the rest of the way. Right? And it can be used as an F 7th, like F dominant 7th, right? It can be used as a B altered. It can be used as A minor 7 flat 5. All right, but in this case we're using it. I told you there's lots of modes of this scale, so it's good. C minor or C minor 6th. Now, minor 6 doesn't mean put a minor 6 interval. It means the major 6th. The same scale will work, but they've got this bebop minor. What the hell is that? Oh, just a little passing tone like in the major scale. So. I mean, you can put those passing tones anywhere. I don't see the point of really studying this one all that much. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Okay, blues scale. Somebody asked me to do a video about double stops. That's when you play 2 notes on the violin at the same time. And, those are some double stops, and I think I will do a video about that one of these days. C minor major 7th, again. Oh, especially if it's got the flat 6, and that, all right, that's a pretty bad chord, but yeah, harmonic minor is a pretty good scale, and if you want to sound like players from the 40s, 1940s, they didn't think about Lydian dominant scale or even really diminished scale. They didn't call it that. But they did think about the harmonic minor scale because, back then everybody took piano lessons. Or at least they learned the basics. And, harmonic minor scale is one of the things you learn in classical piano. So, for a minor 6 chord or a minor major 7th, that, or even, for the G 7th chord, going to a C minor. Yeah. See, it works pretty nice on the G7 chord, too. Probably has that up there. We've probably already covered that, but just in the key of C. All right, let's see. What's next? C minor or C minor 7th diminished, beginning with a whole step. Suppose you were doing a 2-5-1. C goes to F 7th, and on F 7th, you would use that diminished scale because you got the flat 9 there. So I guess you could start your diminished scale early in a 2-5-1. You're going to B flat. Let me do that again because that was pretty sloppy. So let me use the diminished scale now. See, it works over the F7 better. But see, that's the thing when you're improvising. You don't have to, like, if you have a bar of this chord and a bar of that chord, you don't have to like have this bar be the Dorian mode and this bar be the diminished scale and this bar be the major scale. You know, you can let one scale extend over into the other bar or start a scale a little bit early or something like that. You know, when you're first learning, you line things up, but as you get, you know, more, I don't know, relaxed, or, you know, you're not thinking about it quite as much, you'll find that, you know, you can let these scales float over a couple of different chords, even if they don't fit perfectly, because it sounds good. All right, Phrygian, oh boy. Let me think about this one. So Phrygian on C is like the A flat major scale, right? Because we want to start on the 3rd degree of a scale. So, and my chord is a minor chord. Yeah, C minor or C minor with a flat 9. You know, a C minor with a flat 9 and a flat 6, that's not even a chord in my universe. You know, I mean, a flat 6 maybe, but I mean, that's just not really a chord. So I tend to use Phrygian when you need a Phrygian sound. And the chord symbol will say C Phrygian or C PH something. Another time to use it is like, say you're in the key of A flat and you're doing a 3-6-2-5. And when you're on the 3 chord, you're actually playing Phrygian, but really you're thinking in the key of A flat major, and you're playing an A flat major scale. So let's draw a line through that one. That one's no good. C minor 6. Yeah, use the natural minor. And sometimes, you know, just on a minor chord, the flat 6 is the one that, you know, is iffy, but sometimes it works really great. You know, if you're playing like in the key of C and you are on the 3 chord, yeah, the natural minor scale just has that one sharp. So, you know, it's pretty close to like a C major scale. Maybe like on Satin doll, you know. Because, you know, you're still staying in C, but you've got a little bit of a hint of an E minor 9th there. Some nice comping chords, and I've been asked to do some more videos about comping. It's not something I think about all that much, so I just do it, but I will try to think about it and then do a video about it. All right, thank goodness we're coming down to the end here. So half-diminished scale choices. All right, Locrian is so easy. I think we talked about it already. D flat major scale. And then the sharp, this note. So if you sharp that note, it comes out there. So, and that is minor melodic ascending of some key. I can't think what. Oh yeah, the E flat minor 6. See, that's minor melodic ascending. But in this mode of that scale is called Locrian sharp 2. I don't know why, but why they have to make this so difficult. All these names and stuff. And I'll tell you right now, if you know like all your major scales, the diminished scale, I think that's really all you need, because even on minor chords, you know, you're playing some kind of major scale, C major scale, and then a diminished scale on G7. And then, you know, you just mess around with other notes. You don't stick strictly to the scale. You go, and then, you know, I'm just messing around there, not thinking about any scales at all. Last one here, Bebop scale on this chord. Okay, once again, it's the Locrian mode. And, you know, if it was D flat major scale that you're thinking of, where would the bebop note come in? Right there. Is that where they put it? No, they put it there, so. Where was it again? Shit. Totally useless. You know, you can put that half step in, that little passing tone. You can put that in anywhere. As long as you're thinking about the D flat major scale, you know, you could see a passing tone on the white key. So if you put too many in, you come out with the chromatic scale, which, you know, I've always, you know, kind of put down people that use the chromatic scale a lot, but I started listening to Art Tatum, and he does use it a lot, you know, in some of those fast runs. There's quite a good bit of a chromatic scale in there. And it's an easy scale to use, too. But in a way, it's kind of a cop-out for not knowing, you know, the diminished scale or maybe the altered scale, some really useful scales. Okay, we are at the last one, diminished chord. Start with the whole step and do the diminished scale. I think we talked about this already. All right. You know, I do have a lot of videos about, you know, how to use these scales more in context of songs and things like that. So, you know, I've playlists, and one of them's called chords, 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 and one of them's called scales, scales, scales. And so if you look at the videos in that playlist, and of course, you know, how do you find the playlist? You go down to my description of this video and you click on my playlists link, and you can see all my different playlists. And there's really too many of them up there. You know, I got some country songs and stuff like, you know, the essential ones you'll find, and jazz standards, chords, scales, rootless voicings, improv, I don't know, drop two. Do I have a? Let's do some 2-5-1s using the diminished scale on the 5 chord and the 2 chord. All right, let's do that again. All right. And once again, I would just like to say that thinking about scales is not really your primary focus when you're improvising. It can help you work out some good ideas, and certainly when you're just studying, you want to learn some scales. But more important is to just play the melody, embellish the melody, expand upon the melody, expound upon the melody, dig the melody, live the melody, feel the melody, be the melody. Thanks so much for watching Jazz Piano College. I appreciate your support. Thank you, everyone. See you again real soon.